My mom used to work two jobs to support me and my two older sisters, so she would come home late at night, which was a normal thing growing up. We lived in a trailer park in Zachary, Louisiana. My bedroom was the first one down the hallway to the right of the living room, so any noise that came from the living room or kitchen, I would hear first. One night when I was asleep, I was awoken to what sounded like pots being removed from the potholder above the island in the kitchen, which meant my mom was home. So like a happy, excited little kid, I jumped out of bed and proceeded to run into the kitchen to greet my mom and give her hugs because I missed her. When I got to the end of the hall where the living room started, I stopped because I could see right away that only the stove light was on, but there was no one there. The pot rack above the island was swinging madly. So, as I stood there, I slowly moved my head towards the couch. That's where I saw a full white apparition sitting on the couch. It had what looked like a cigarette in its hand. Then its head slowly turned toward me, and it opened its full black mouth. I turned and ran down the hallway and woke up my sisters, screaming that there was something in the living room. My sisters got up, and my older sister went and checked it out, turning on all the lights as she went. There wasn't anyone in the living room, and a couple days later, I noticed a cigarette burn on the couch. I was sitting on the couch in the living room in our trailer in Zachary, Louisiana. My two older sisters were playing in their room at the end of the hallway to the right of the living room. I was just watching my Saturday morning cartoons, as we all did as 5 or 6-year-old kids. We had the old school tube knob TV, the one where you actually had to walk up to it to change the channel or turn the volume up. We were way too poor for a fancy remote. Well, I am sitting there, and I noticed a reflection in the TV, but as a kid, you didn't really pay that much attention to things like that. As I sat there, I didn't notice it at first, but the volume started going up slowly, and then it got really loud, and my oldest sister yelled from her room, "Matthew, turn the TV down!" I yelled back that I didn't turn it up, but I got up anyways and turned it down. Then, went back to watching my cartoons. Then it started going up again, but this time, much faster, and my sister yells a second time. So, I turned it down again, but when I reached for the knob, the TV went black, and I saw what looked like a face of an old woman in the reflection of the TV. I turned the knob real quick and ran back and jumped on the couch, wrapping myself in my blanket and sat there. I sat there and watched the knob this time. I watched as the knob slowly starts turning. I am frozen in fear. All I can do is watch. Then it gets so loud, I have to cover my ears. My oldest sister comes running into the living room yelling, "Matthew, quit it. I told you to turn that down already." She turns to me and I tell her, "I haven't touched it. I watched the knob move." She didn't believe me. She kinda gave me the whatever look and turned to walk back to her room. Then all of a sudden, the volume on the TV shot up to full blast. She turned and looked at me with the most scared look on her face. She ran over to the TV and turned it off. Then we ran back to their room and told our other sister about it. I don't think I watched TV again for a few days. This was about 4 years ago. I was living in Simpsonville, South Carolina with a friend. The house was literally a dead zone. Cell service sucked. If you walked outside into the front or the backyard, it was fine. So, I was working third shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., and well, it all started with the footsteps. It was about 3 a.m. I was home from work, not feeling too hot, so I'm lying in bed watching TV when I hear footsteps outside my room. I yelled to my roommate asking him what was up, but no answer. I thought that was odd, so I got up and went to the door and opened it. The entire house was dark, and there was no sign of my roommate. I didn't think anything of it, so I crawled back into my bed and fell asleep. Then, it started. A week or two later, there were voices in the hall, or in the kitchen, and in the third bedroom that didn't have anyone staying there. After a month, it got worse. I woke up to see 2 kids playing next to my bed, and I couldn't move my eyes, but I was wide awake. but I couldn't move. I looked away for 1 sec, and then they were standing right next to me, staring at me. I didn't fall back to sleep after that. It calmed down for a week after that, but then it started to get even worse. Waking up not being able to move and looking around seeing kids. Then, it was a tall man in all black at the end of the bed. It turned into an every night kind of thing. Suddenly, she showed up. She looked to be 100 years old, and her skin was rotting and puffy. Her teeth were yellow and long, and her nails were long and jagged. I remember waking up to a burning sensation on my back. I checked my back in the bathroom the next morning and found 4 long red anger scratches on my back. Once she showed up, the others were not seen again. I started asking my roommate if he ever saw anything or felt anything, but him being so absent-minded, he said no. Then a week or so later, he said he swore he saw something standing outside the shower, and his dog was acting funny, trying to get into the shower with him. One night, it was the worst. I was awoken to a pressure. It started at my feet, then it started to go up my body, and I couldn't move. I had my eyes squeezed shut, but then once the pressure got to my chest, it was like someone was sitting on my chest, and I felt my eyes open. I was trying to fight it. I'm laying there trying to avoid looking down, but then I see it. I see the top of the old woman's head, and I can see it slowly rising from the bottom of my vision to her eyes coming level with mine, and I can't look away. Then, I feel my mouth opening, and I still can't move. I push her off of me. My heart is pounding. I've never been so scared in my life. So, I'm laying there, my mouth is slowly opening, and she's just staring at me. Then, she screams, and it feels like lava is being poured down my throat. I think I passed out from fear. I woke up the next morning feeling weird, very angry. I looked like I had not slept in days. My throat was on fire. The next day, I didn't sleep, and nothing happened in my room. But I wasn't sleeping. I was always angry. People could tell something was wrong. I wasn't eating. I'm a very active person, but my body felt like it was shutting down. I was also weak in the gym. This went on for a few more weeks. Then, she returned. But her eyes were different. They didn't look hungry anymore. They looked pleased. So the next few nights, she was just standing next to my bed, watching me. Finally, I had enough. I was sick of being scared. I was sick of being watched. I was sick of being just so angry. That night, as I laid there unable to move, instead of being scared, I was angry. As I struggled with everything, I have to move, and I'm making progress. I see it in her eyes, and she knows I'm about to break free. She reaches for me, but before she can touch me, I yell, "Get out of my house!" As soon as the words came out, I could feel something flow out of my mouth. A thick black film that flew around the room, then wrapped around the old woman. It pulled her into it. Then, she was gone. It felt like 100 pounds had been pulled off of my back. My room felt airy and comfortable. I was instantly happy again, and the bags under my eyes were gone. After that, I didn't have any problems in that house. I can't sleep on my back anymore, though, for fear that she would come back and do it again. Thanks for joining us around the campfire. If you enjoyed the story, subscribe below. Also, hit that notification bell to be notified of our new stories as they are posted. If you have a story you'd like to share for narration, submit it via email, and you may be hearing your story next. Our email address is in the description box below. Thank you, and good night.